Hello everyone and welcome back to Sports Today. So in this special series that we're doing for you where we're analyzing, let's say, all of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats for every single team that's taking part in the ICC World Cup. And today we're coming back to everyone's favorite underdogs, that one side who always tend to punch above the odds despite never being favorites, New Zealand.
Of course. And look, in this edition of the World Cup as well, New Zealand, I think, in my opinion, are going in as the underdogs. But you know that New Zealand tendency, that Kiwi tendency of turning everything around. I mean, I don't know how they pull that rabbit out of the hat, but they do.
I mean, if you look at it, see, 2015, they made it to the final, lost rather comprehensively. 2019 also they made it. 2021 they made it to the WTC final and upset India. Then also made it to, so they do have that tendency of just kind of punching above their weight consistently. Absolutely. So even this time around, there is that expectation, but again, I'm kind of putting them in the bracket between them and Pakistan, in the sense that I'm both of them do have their strengths, do have very obvious weaknesses also. So we thought we'd analyze, and to start off with New Zealand, let's first take a look at their schedule, because with the schedule, you remember every team is playing everyone anyway. So it's not so much who you're playing, it's when.
Where you're playing.
Exactly. And yes, where and when. So before we do that, we'll first take a look at what is actually a very strong squad, in my opinion, but is contingent to, let's say, fitness issues. Just walk us through the squad.
Yeah, and if we're looking at the New Zealand squad, we have, of course, Kane Williamson as the captain. Trent Boult is coming back in to the New Zealand team. We have Mark Chapman, Devon Conway, Lockie Ferguson, Matt Henry, Tom Latham, Daryl Mitchell, Jimmy Neesham, Glenn Phillips, Rachin Ravindra, Mitchell Santner, Ish Sodhi, Tim Southee and Will Young.
Yeah, so that's a very strong looking squad, at least as strong as a squad that this New Zealand side could muster. Of course, a lot will depend on, and this is definitely something that could be a strength and a weakness. Kane Williamson's fitness.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about, let's talk about opportunities, advantages first of all. Strengths. Strengths. Let's talk about strengths first of all. If we're looking at the Kiwi strength, the number one strength that the New Zealand team have is Kane Williamson.
Undoubtedly.
As a captain, as a batter. When I look at this squad, I have, this is crystal clear that the batting lineup is revolving around Kane Williamson, and that's just how it is with New Zealand, because Kane Williamson, but when we talk about Kane Williamson as a captain, I think that's where he kind of takes the prize, because he is a very composed, very calm, and now so experienced. And that's what New Zealand will need going into this tournament. But then let's look at how it is.
Yeah, I mean, fitness wise, that is the major thing. I mean, we know Kane Williamson, absolute statesman as a captain. Undoubtedly probably one of the most underrated, finest captains that this generation has seen. Very classy man, great batsman as well, and definitely, as Gargi was rightly pointing out, the linchpin around whom their batting revolves, because again, there are plenty of good batters there, let's not kid ourselves. There is definitely a Daryl Mitchell who tends to do well. Neesham is another one who Conway, I think, for me, is probably that X-factor batsman that they have. And of course, the likes of Mitchell Santner, Rachin Ravindra, Glenn Phillips definitely do also provide both fireworks, but also solid batting. Rachin Ravindra, by the way, in recent times, his form, and again, not just last game, against England, he had a couple of good knocks. And the funny part is, there's no guarantee he's even a starter, because he plays the exact same role as Mitch Santner.
Exactly.
So that, I think, is their one big strength. Williamson, of course, we'll get back to, let's say, what their best team would look like with or without him. But another strength, I think, definitely, I think their bowling.
Yes. I was getting to that, and I think before we get to spin bowling, which they also have in Mitchell Santner and Ish Sodhi, both of whom are doing very well. But Trent Boult coming back in, who's been very dangerous. Any sort of cricket that he's played, he's been absolutely dangerous. And with the request of the New Zealand management, Trent Boult decided to come back into the New Zealand squad. But we have Tim Southee, of course, the legendary.
Of course, him, it's another one, by the way. Fitness is an issue. Remember, he had that rather gnarly thumb injury which he ended up picking up. But of course, we know with Southee, we know what it is he brings to the table. I think this is a guy who, remember, has been playing World Cup since 2011.
So experienced.
So much experience. And we know what he can do with the new ball. So I think in Southee and Boult, that's a very good new ball combination. Lockie Ferguson definitely provides that pace X-factor and was also captaining them recently, lest we forget, in the series against Bangladesh. Then if you're looking at their pacers, Jimmy Neesham tends to get a bad rep due to his T20 numbers, but in ODI is a perfectly, let's say serviceable bowler in the middle order. And the spinners, again, whether it be Glenn Phillips bowls part-time off spin, if memory serves me right, and of course Santner and Sodhi, both have been phenomenal. Sodhi in fact was very good in that series against Bangladesh. I think he got a 6-4 in that game where he got run out of the non-strikers end and it was called back. So whole different debate that, but Sodhi's also been in good form. We know that. I think with New Zealand, the biggest strength that they do tend to have, because we've just pointed out, it's the bowling and also their ability to kind of be greater than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
Definitely they play as a team. There's no one standout individual, like, there's no like a Shaheen Shah Afridi or like a Virat Kohli type figure. Yes, there's no Ben Stokes, Butler type figure. But when they play as a team.
Exactly. I think that's what sets them apart
exactly
from the rest, because we've been seeing, like we were talking about, that one tendency of, kind of turning the table around completely.
Exactly.
That comes from teamwork, my
Exactly. And their teamwork really is the one thing that I will bank on if they have to make it. Their biggest strength.
Absolutely.
Biggest weakness potentially could be if that batting is without Williamson.
Yes, and also the fact that the Kiwi batters do not do well against spin.
That is, right.
That is, and also adding to the strengths of the team, the bowling lineup, when we look at Trent Bolt, Jimmy Neesham, Mitchell Santner, they've been playing IPL a lot.
Exactly.
Which means they know what the conditions will look like. They've been playing at these similar venues as well.
Exactly.
So I think that is one of their biggest strengths as well. But again, weakness, I think their biggest weakness will be them. Devon Conway is not a good player of spin.
And Conway can be iffy, hot and cold.
Yeah, even Darren Mitchell is not a good player of spin. So I think that is going to be their biggest, weakness, because you are playing in India.
Spinners will come into play.
Exactly. And if we look at the schedule, if you don't mind me moving on to it.
Yeah, we'll go over these points later on. The schedule is here. So
if we look at the schedule, we've got, they're not playing in Delhi, of course, but then they're playing against India, Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. All these 4 teams, have incredibly talented spinners.
And you're talking about spin, don't forget, they're playing Afghanistan in Chennai. It's probably one of the, and same with Bangladesh, by the way. So actually those 2 are the games which could be potential banana peels if you're looking at weaknesses, because as Gargi points out, against quality spin, they too tend to get just a wee bit iffy. So Chennai, 2 matches there. Otherwise, really, if you're looking at it, Ahmedabad, I don't think will be that much of a problem. Hyderabad, if recent warm-up matches are to go by, then Hyderabad's pitches just had a total revamp. I don't know what's happened there. Otherwise, generally speaking, like Dharamshara, Bangalore, you're going to get good. Exactly, you're going to get lovely batting conditions. But you're right, these Chennai games will be the biggest banana peels, and that too against Bangladesh and Afghanistan, 2 teams who probably not a lot of people will be backing to make the top 4 to begin with. But other than that, if you're looking at the schedule, they do, if let's assume they are okay playing Chennai and these 2 matches in Chennai, they do have a good start, because their first 5 games, really realistically, there's 3 that they can win. Netherlands, Bangladesh and Afghanistan, on paper, that's a mismatch. Their toughest match is, of course, the opener.
Of course.
England, defending champions, rematch of the final, and then India and Dharamshala, and after that, Australia. That's where things get tricky. For them, if you look at it, their fixtures are very latter heavy.
Yeah.
Because it's, look at it, after they play India, then Australia, South Africa, Pakistan. That's 4 big matches just like that, and matches that could potentially decide where it is they finish.
I mean, yes, I think that's something, but then again, Afghanistan have been doing well. I don't know about their batting.
Their batting has been very flimsy.
But then their bowling as well. But I think they've got a good calendar when it comes to the World Cup, because they start off, a little easy peasy, except the England match, of course.
And
it gives them time to kind of get back into the groove and kind of get that momentum. If they do happen to win against Netherlands, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, that will give them a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum as well.
Exactly. I think these 3 matches could be, because it gives them a little bit of leeway than heading into the last 5 matches. Because again, then you have India, Australia, South Africa, Pakistan, probably 4 of the strongest teams in the World Cup right now. Sri Lanka, they would back themselves to beat 9 times out of 10. But beyond that, again, my biggest problem when it comes to their weaknesses, we've actually inadvertently discussed the, let's say, opportunities they have, in that they can seal their, let's say, position at the top 4 relatively early if they do well, because their fixtures definitely give them an advantage. The threat could be, and the big weakness, Williamson. what is their best team with or without Williamson? With Williamson, this is what it will look like. Of course, you'll have Conway and Will Young opening. Kane Williamson then slots in a 3. You've got Daryl Mitchell, Tom Latham, Glenn Phillips, James Neesham, Mitch Santner. That is, by the way, an underratedly deep batting lineup. Because again, don't forget, till really 8. And Tim Southee can whack a few.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, fun fact for you guys, Tim Southee has more test match 6s than MS Dhoni. That's a real stat, by the way. So, and even Trent Bolt can at best hang around, but really, I'd say they battle 8 with Southee being a bit of a whacker. So that's the deep batting lineup, but it really all will depend on Williamson holding it together, because without him, they will have to probably play then a Rachin Ravindra.
And maybe look at their 11 without Williamson. Of course, Williamson is in knee rehab right now.
He'll miss the first match.
He will miss the first match. He played in the first 2 warm-up games. Only as a batter he bats, he goes back out, nothing else.
Yeah.
But then that is also, we've seen him, it was really difficult for him to
run. Yes.
Yeah. So that is not a good sign, but let's see what happens with that. Without Williamson, the 11 will look like something, something like this. We have Devon Conway, Will Young, Daryl Mitchell, Tom Latham, Glenn Phillips, Rachin Ravindra, Jimmy Neesham, Mitchell Santner, Tim Southee, Trent Bolt and Matt Henry.
And the problem with playing both Ravindra and Santner is that it's like playing Jadeja and Akshar.
Yeah, exactly.
They play exactly the same role.
I mean, again, and in ODI, we know we have been having a lot of debates about this anchor role. But in ODIs, you need it. And without Kane Williamson there.
Exactly. Latham is a solid batter, but again, doesn't tend to have Williamson's ability to make big scores.
Yeah, it's just that when Williamson goes out of the team, he just leaves a void.
He does. And it's a very unfillable void, unfortunately. Because again, I do rate, again, Latham, good ODI bat. Phillips too, someone who can be explosive. Ravindra, Neesham, Santner, all good power hitters. But again, without Williamson, they just don't have that fulcrum around whom the side revolves. Exactly. And that will be probably the biggest threat. They really need to hope and pray that Williamson is fit very, very soon, because otherwise these fixtures look a lot tougher, because we're talking about, the Bangladesh and Afghanistan. These kind of pitches and these kind of bowling attacks, you need Williamson.
Exactly. You need Williamson to kind of, take that bed, kind of anchor in.
Yeah, kind of bed in and dig deep, bat deep.
Lay that foundation for, Tom Latham and anyone who's coming after, and Devon Conway. You need...
they have good hitters. That's the thing.
They have aggressive batters, exactly. But then you need someone to start off smoothly, right?
Correct.
And that is what Kane Williamson precisely does, and he's an incredibly... incredible skills with the captaincy. He is brilliant with his captaincy. So that's, another void that Kane Williamson will leave if he does, not play in the World Cup. But let's hope that he does.
Let's hope he gets to play soon enough.
Contests with the New Zealand team.
Yeah, so that's our expectation with this New Zealand side. Obviously, plenty of positive expectations, but as we keep harping on, a lot will depend on the fitness of one Kane Williamson, but that's just how we feel. What do you guys think? You can let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and don't forget
to download the AajTak app.
Plus, if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done. For now though, from Gargi and me, it's bye-bye.